Okay, so I thought I'd just share my face and saying, hey, everybody. Okay, so now I'm going to remove my face so that we can focus on the homework for tonight. All right, so let's get started. There I go, I'm gone. Okay, so tonight's work, we had those 6 problems. So I'm going to go through here because most of you have already completed the assignment. And those that you did not, you had this for homework. So let's take a look at this first one. It reads, the table below shows the amount of time it took 4 teachers to grade papers. Wow, so they have the teacher names, and it's Mr. Talon, Mrs. Moore, Miss Sanchez, and Mr. Lowry. And then it has in the next column amount of time in hours. So we're reading Mr. Talon had 2 and 87 hundredths of an hour grade papers. Mrs. Moore was 1 and 18 hundredths hours to grade papers. Miss Sanchez had 1 and 6 hundredths hours to grade papers. And then Mr. Lowry was 2 and 36 hundredths. So over here on your paper, it says, what do you know? So some of you were putting in comments of, I notice there's numbers. Let's dig a lot deeper because the goal is to completely understand what you're reading, right? So now, what do you see right here? And I'm going to kind of draw this out this year. What are you looking at right here in this table? Super important to read. You see where I'm circling right here? You got to read those labels so that you understand. So I'm going to go back over onto the mark and read here. What do you see? Absolutely. So I'm going to type that out and you can write as we go through. I noticed, like you do in reading, using the same strategies and applying it into into math. So I noticed the chart gives me what? The amount of time each, this is what's really important, teacher took to grade papers. And that's what I see. What else do you notice? Great, there's 4 teachers. And then there are 4 teachers. What else do you notice here? Yeah, do you notice that all the times are different? So let me mark here. I'm gonna go over here and look at this in this red part there. All the times are different. Is anybody taking the same amount of time to grade the papers? No, and that's pretty much realistic. That's real world. I don't think that if we had 4 teachers or even Miss Farias and Miss Workman and myself, and we were put together and we were grading papers the same amount, the same thing, um, we would finish at different times. So even the numbers, um, all 4 times are different. Okay, so that's key. So when we're going through and looking at which teacher finished grading papers first, we now know they're all different. We also know that we're looking to see who finished first. So the thing in class we were talking about, who finished first, right? That it is going to be the fastest person with the least amount of time. That's what it is. Remember, you got to picture that person that's crossing that race and they cross that finish line and it was stopped on that stopwatch. So if you ever watch the Olympics with the races of either the swimming or the track and field, you have those stopwatches at the bottom of your screen and they're competing. So the first person, USA, finishes first. So that clock stops. And then you have the person that's from, let's say, Jamaica, and then they stop next. And the next one is from China, and then it stops. So the person with the least amount of time on that clock, they were the winners. That's what we're going to do here. So what do we need to find out? So coming over to this next block, we need to find out the teacher who finished grading first. Now that I know that, remember that's the author's purpose. Now that I know that, I can create a plan that's going to help me answer that question. So what do I need to do first? Okay, we're gonna have to compare the times, right? So I'm gonna compare the times. So what could we do? Yeah, let's pull them out of the table and then list the times from what? Greatest to least or least to greatest? Ooh, good. From least to greatest. Now, if you said it was from greatest to least, is that still possible? Yeah, because when you have the greatest time in your mind, you're like, ooh, they took the longest, and write that down. That was the longest time. So no matter which way your brain is thinking, know that there's not a wrong answer. It's just how you're sorting your information. Now let's go to the next one. Now you need to rate or rank your times. So, and it could be from shortest amount of time to the greatest amount of time. And I'm going to write shortest amount of time because that's the way we really talk in life. We don't say, ooh, or we say the least amount of time, but you really, what's your verbiage? Make those comparisons. So it's the shortest amount of time to the most amount of time. Those of you that want to use that language, I use the least amount of time and the greatest amount of time. Use it, type it, put that into your on your paper. Then what's the final thing? Great. Then we're going to compare again those times to see who finished first, right? Because that's the goal. We wanted to find out. Because isn't that what we're looking for over here? Come back over to my drawing, and I'm going to put that in blue. Isn't that what we're looking for? Who finished first? Yeah. All right. So now let's go ahead. I'm going to take this work here. Let me see if there was a. Maybe it'll let me do it. I'm going to see. I'm going to do a. I'm going to pull this out. I'm going to do a cheater's way. You know, I'm trying to save time, and I don't know if this is really saving time. I think I'm making more work for myself. Yep, I did because it did not work. Didn't paste it there. So I have 2 and 8700ths, right? What's the next one? 1 and 1800ths. So 1 and 1800ths. What's the key thing? Line up those decimals. Remember, always line up your decimals because that decimal point means that you are separating the whole number from the fractional part. Think of money. You have your whole dollars. Everybody, oops, show me that money, and then the pocket change. So it was 1 and 600ths, and then 2 and 3600ths. So I want to make sure that I wrote those down correctly. Remember, some of you on the test didn't write down the right numbers. So you answered what you put down correctly, but then the answer choices, it was wrong. So just doing a quick check here. Very good. All right. What do I notice here when I'm solving it? Let me go to the ones. I'm going to highlight this first part. So those of you that have got it, wonderful. That is great. I'm going to do the markup and let me come to this yellow part. So I have this part right here. I just wanted to mark up. Why isn't it marking it up? Oh, it won't. There's the markup right there. It was behind it. You know what? I don't have time to go back and figure out how I'm going to do that. I'm just going to erase that part. I know that there's some fancy little key that I'm not keying on or I'm not paying attention to, so I'm just going to hold on. Let me do, actually, I'm going to do this pen. Yeah, I'll do this. So I'm going to look at the first one with the red dot. Let me hide this part here, and I'm going to erase that one. Okay, so the first column with the red dot, I have a 2, 1, 1. What do I see? 2 is the greatest, right? So I'm going to pull those out, and I'm only going to be looking at those 2. So I see this 2 here, and I have this 2 here. So since those are equal, I'm going to the next one. And in the tens place, I have an 8 and a 3. What do I know about that? Absolutely, 8 is greater than 3. So who took the most time to grade their papers? Trying to find, there we go. Very good. So it's going to be Mr. Talon. So this is third. So he took the most time. Mr. Talon took the most time. So he came in fourth. All right. Then who's third? Yeah, it'll be Mr. Lowry because that's the one who you were comparing it with, right? So Mr. Lowry was third. If you're wanting to mark it, that's great. I'm doing it this way. So you remember we said that for every number, whatever we're doing, we have to identify it. Now that we're done, I'm going to do strikeouts on here because I'm finished with that, right? Now I'm left with these two numbers. So I'm going back over to the ones place, and I notice that those are equal. Moving over to the tenths, I see that 1 is greater than 0. So who was in third place? Oops, you see my error? I meant to put second. Good. If you did it, fantastic. You know I'd eventually see that one. No, you're right. Because he's third, we're counting down. Fourth, third, and now who's in second? Good catch. Yes. So the one that was 1 in 18, so it's Mrs. Moore. She came in second. So who won? Yes, it's going to be Miss Sanchez, who was actually the fastest grader. You see how we worked backwards? We said, and here on our plan, that we were going to do from least to greatest. But what did I end up doing? Greatest to least. So that's what I started for. So here, did your solution answer the question? Well, it did, but we kind of did the opposite. So I'm going to make a notation over here and put in parentheses, actually did greatest to least. The reason I'm doing it is because I want my brain to know what I did. So if I come across this again, I've now stored that information in my head, and now I know what I'll need to do. If you don't imprint in your brain and give your brain that opportunity of storing that information, you will come across a problem very similar to this, and you'll be sitting there thinking, what did I do? How many of you have actually done it? What did I do? I don't remember. So you never stored it. You just went through it because you learned it for that moment and then forgot it. And that's not what we're doing. We're learning to remember. So now, based on this information, let's go ahead and look at what we've got. So let's look at our first answer choice. It said that Mr. Lowry finished first because 36 hundredths is less than 87 hundredths. Well, that is true, right? Let me highlight this portion right here. Oh, we can't do the highlight on here. So I'm going to come over to this part here. Is this part a true statement? Yeah, that part's true. But did Mr. Lowry finish first? He finished with Mr. Talon, but was he the first teacher to finish? No, he wasn't the first teacher to finish. We said it was Miss Sanchez was the first teacher to finish. Let's look at this next one. Miss Moore, because 1800ths is greater than 600ths. Well, let me switch my pen color here. Let me go to a green because I used red. I don't want it too close in family. This is a true statement. We know that 1800ths is greater than 6, but did Miss Moore finish first? She had the greater time, but she was not the first one to finish. So do you see how we're understanding the process? Let's look at Miss Sanchez then. Miss Sanchez finished first because 600ths is less than 1800ths. Ooh, yes. Because she had less time, Miss Sanchez then is the winner. So I'm going to do a big O. Where's my stars? I guess I don't have it here. So I'm going to change the color of my pen and put true statement, true, because this is true. That makes this statement true. Let's look at the next one just in case. So we'll change him over to blue. Mr. Talon, because 87 hundredths is greater than 36 hundredths, his number is greater, but does that make him first to win or just with the greater number? Yeah, just with a greater number. So it doesn't make him the winner, it just has the greater number. So the correct answer then, I'll switch this over here, is going to be C. Okay. Now over here, this is not going to travel with, oh, it will. Yay. Okay, that worked out perfectly. So let's look back. Check your work. Did your solution answer the question? Check mark. Yes. Is your answer reasonable? Absolutely. And we went through reason as we were going through those answer choices. And did you rethink your steps? Yeah, we had to rethink our steps, right? Especially with me, because I actually put down that I was going to do least to greatest. It's like, you know what? Greatest to least was be better because I had to find out who was last to find out who was first. So that's what you're doing on tonight's homework. And then the other ones, now that you know the gist and the I guess the meat of it, the facts and how we're going to do it, we're going to expedite a little bit quicker on the next one. All right, so let's come through. I'm going to go ahead and clear the slate here, and then I'm going to come over here. Let's get this and clean the slate, and I'm going to change the equation. I'm going to delete all the annotations, delete, and okay. And it cleared all the paper up, which is great because I'm coming over here and I'm going to do a cut and paste for the next equation. So I'm going to slice this one off here and I'm going to bring it up to the front. I'm going to copy. See, now you know all my secrets, right? I'm going to paste this here and let's go to the next one. Move that up here, stretch it out so we can all see it. All right, now let's get ready to get started. This next one says that Lydia and Jerome earned money helping clean out the garage. Oh, can I hire them? I need help. So Lydia earned $8.70 and Jerome earned $8.07. Lydia said she earned the most. Is she correct? All right, so the moment I read that, and this is what you should be thinking, the moment you read this, I need to write down, I don't want to do that. True or false? Is this true? So is Lydia true or false? Because I can take this information and apply it in my answer choices, right? So let's come over here. What do I know? So I'm going to type in, what do I know? Well, I know there's two people, right? So I know there are two people who earned, what do they do? Who earned money. What else do I know? Very good. I know that Lydia earned $8, and I put my little dollar sign, $8.70. I need you to think it out and say it out loud because the moment you say it out loud, your ears are able to pick up what you're saying, input that back into your brain, and it helps you sort the information so that you have a better understanding. Remember, I have whisper phones. So when you're taking a test, if you don't have a text to speech that's attached and you're just reading in your head, ask for a whisper phone. So you're whispering into the phone, into your ear, into the brain, and output back out onto paper. You'll be surprised on how that works. So it's really great. Okay, so you have $8.70, and then Jerome earned what? $8.07. $8.07. So I have $8.07. Okay. And then, so those are all our facts. Does that look familiar? Isn't this what we do all the time? We do it in class, but is this what you're doing when you're taking a test? This is what you need to do consistently to achieve that mastery level. So let's go to the next one. What do we need to find out? That's the author's purpose. Lydia says she's earned the most. So what do we need to find out? Is Lydia correct that she earned the most money? Okay, we just wanted to keep it simple. All right, so what's our first plan? So looking over here, what do I got to do? Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to have to compare the money each person earned. There we go. Next, I'm going to have to, I want to stack them, right? And then look at each place value. So I'm going to stack the decimal numbers and compare each place value. Then find out which place value or which place differs to determine who earned the most. Okay, the more you talk about it, the easier it is to discuss it and to write it down. You got to be able to talk about it, and you have to be able to write it down. Got to do both. If you can't talk about it, how do you write it? You can't, because you hadn't sorted out the information. All right, so now let's go through and organize and be neat. See that word? Be organized and neat about your work, because your brain's got to see what you're doing. If you're sloppy, that's what's happening in your brain. So that's what you're not storing right. So I have $8.70 and $8.07. And I said I was going to stack it. So 8.70, and then I'm going to have 8.07. So I've stacked it. Now I said I was going to check each place to determine which ones changed. So I'm looking at the first one, which is in the ones place value. I noticed that they're both equal. So I'm going to move on to the next place value. I'm going to change the color, and I'm going to make this one, let's go to pink. So now in the tens place value, what do I notice? 7 is greater than 0. Very good. So what was one thing that I should have done that I didn't, that could be an easy mistake? Yeah, I didn't label. So please make sure that you've either put an L. I'm going to put Lydia. I'm going to do red. L for Lydia and J for Jerome. Now I know that it's easy to determine who made, because I can get those confused. So I know that, and I'm going to put the L here above the 7, greater than my inequality, and J for Jerome. So now let's go back to our answer choices now that I have this down. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of shrink this up just a bit so that I can see my work. Oh, it erased it. Because I did it. That's okay. We remembered, right? You actually can just pause the video and capture it. So that's the advantage of having video, right? You can go back and see the markings. So we said that it was Lydia who made the most. So is she correct? Now that I know that it's a yes, guys, what can you do in your answer choices? Yeah, eliminate, process of elimination. So let's look at this one. It says no, they earned the same amount. Were they equal? Absolutely not. 7 cents is not equal to 70 cents. Look at the other one. It says no, Jerome earned the most. Really? We said no, he did not. So I'm going to cross that out. Now I'm going to look at the two yeses. Is Lydia correct? Yes, but look at this one. It says because 70 cents, and this is where I want you to really just don't be thinking 70 hundredths and 700ths. That can get confusing. Apply it to money because that's what we're talking about. And say 70 cents is less than 7 cents. I'm seeing 7 dimes versus 7 pennies. Is that a true statement? Absolutely not. So I'm knocking that one out. And I'm looking at the last one. Yes, Lydia is correct because 70 cents is greater than 7 cents. Do you see the work that we applied to this one simple problem that made it easier? Now I know that when I come across another similar problem, I know what to do, I know what I'm looking for, and I know how to check my answers to make sure that what I put down, it's confirmed. Way to go, guys. Okay, let's go to the next one. I'm going to clear all of this out. Delete all my annotations. Delete, yes, clear page, and let's go to the next one. This is a really cool one. Now, remember, we did this with our notes and we had all the grids, right? I particularly, oops, I did that one wrong. So let me start again. I like the grids as long as you know how to read them. And when you're coloring, you have to think about each of those place values. Just don't color to color. There's a purpose for each color. So I'm going to move this up onto my paper, place that here, and paste it. Move this up. Let me come over to my selection, and let's get busy. So getting easier, more practice, easier it gets. Great. All right, so Gwen and Gianna were playing a game. And I actually have one of them. So block one, some of the students were able to play this. So the winner was the one who shaded in more of their decimal grid at the end of the math class. The grids below represent their decimal grids. So I had 2 students that were playing and I was with them. So it was really cool. So which of these statements is not true? What did I say about when you say that not true? I'm going to come through and actually highlight. So let me go to my markup and I'm going to go to the yellow. That not true. Oh, it's not going to do it for me. So I have to go to this one here. Okay, so I'm going to come through this not true. Actually, it's not a highlight, it's a marker. What did I tell you needed to write? Very good. True or false. Now you're in that mindset that you got to find the one that's not, that one that is false. So what do I know? So here we go again. What do you know? I know that there's 2 people playing a game. So, not toe, but 2 people. I'm trying to rush through. See, got to take my time. People playing a game. Okay. And I also know that the winner shaded more, just put that on their grid. Okay, so now it's an understanding of what we're doing, right? So now that we have that as a fact, what do I need to find out? Yes. We're going to compare the grids. The grids represent the decimal grids. Which of these statements is not true? So I'm going to find the false statement. We just need to find it, okay? So what do I need to do? The first thing I need to do is read each statement and compare. Next, I need to determine. So if you don't use the word determine in your vocabulary, you need to decide, right? Which statement is true, not true, and which statement is false. Okay. Actually, I should capitalize that one, right? Because if I capitalize true, I need to capitalize false. Then check, oops, not an X, but check my choice with the decimal grids. Need to make sure that it's correct. All right, now that we know this, let's come through. What do I know about Gwen? Oh, that's another fact, right? I can see it here. Gwen has how many shaded? 800s, right? She shaded in 800s. So that's another fact that I know that Gwen shaded 8 units for, and I can put this in a decimal point, 0.8 or 800. Notice I'm not saying 0.08. I'm specifying decimal point, 0 tenths, and 800s. Okay, it supports your place value. How much did Gianni shade in? Ooh, very good. So Gianni shaded how many rods? 8 rods. Very good. So I'm going to put rods, and I'm going to have 8 or 800s. Right? No, I said that wrong. It would have been 80 hundredths or 8 tenths. I can type out 8 tenths or put in my, I have 0 for whole numbers, my decimal point, and my 8. So you can see how many ways that you can type that out. You can do the same thing with the hundredths as well. And now we're going to find that solution. I'm going to delete that little box there. Okay, so now let's get busy. I know that Gwen had, I'm going to write this out. Gwen had 8 units or 8 hundredths, or you see what I'm doing here? Whichever one helps you better understand. And then Gianni shaded in, and we said it was what? Very good. It was 8 rods. And this is what we write on our descriptions, or 8 tenths, or I have the 0 holes, decimal point, 8 tenths. Okay, now that we have that, we've kind of stacked them, and now we can compare. Now I'm looking at here. Let's look, because we said the next thing that we were going to do is to write down, or to read. It says, Gwen lost because 8 hundredths is less than 8 tenths. Did Gwen lose? Yeah, right? So does this make it a true or false statement? It makes it true, because remember, we're looking for the what? False statement. Okay, so Gianni won because 8 tenths is greater than 8 hundredths. Is that a true statement? Yeah, that's true, right? Did we just say that? Now, Gianni, look at answer choice C. Gianni won. We know that Gianni won, right? I put a check mark there because 8 hundredths is less than, look at this, guys. If I were to write the inequality less than, does that make that a true statement? Yeah, it does. So that's a true statement. Now let's look at D. Gwen lost. We know that Gwen lost because, is this a true statement? 8 tenths is greater than 8 hundredths. Is 8 dimes greater than 8 pennies? Absolutely not. So I'm going to kind of put an X there. This makes it ding, 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 false, false alert. So which is our correct wrong answer? It's D. All right, do you see all that work? So let's go through on our check system. Did your solution answer the question? Check mark. Is your answer reasonable? Check mark. how long that is. And did you need to rethink your steps? I think we did pretty good. Did we have to go back and rethink if we done something wrong? So I'm not going to check mark that because I didn't need to rethink it. So excellent work, guys. Let's go ahead and erase this part here. Go back over and delete all those annotations. And let's move over to the next one. And I'm going to erase this part here. Where is it erasing? It's not erasing. All annotations. Oh, because it has to be here. Okay, I've got so many different erasers there. And all crazy. Okay, let's mouse it there. All right, so now we've done that one, we're on that third one. Now let's go to the fourth because we have 3 more problems to go. And I'm going to do my cut. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go through here so that you can, and I want to see what you're able to do. Let me do this little eraser. Come over here and mark this. So we're going to place that there. All right. And that way you have an opportunity of working on it so that you get that practice. Let's look at Caesar. Caesar wanted to buy his dog a sweater. Oh, how sweet. So he measured the length of his dog in inches. Can you imagine? I'm thinking about that, right? That's hilarious. Okay, so the length of his dog was between, get that? What's that between? Means that, you have a beginning and you have an end. What's in the middle? Remember, so every time you hear that word between, think of the beginning and the end. What's in the middle? So between 22 and 4/10 and 22 and 5/10 inches. Which of the following could have been the length of his dog? Oh, all right. This looks like fun. This kind of reminds me of my granddaughter's 2 little dogs. She's got miniature chihuahuas. One's a miniature chihuahua and a Doberman, right? Funky character. I can't imagine where Theo is like standing so you can measure a sweater because they can't stand it, but they will be dressed for Halloween, believe you me. So that's going to be hilarious. All right, so now let's take a look. What do I know? That we're going to measure that Caesar or Cesar is buying a sweater for his dog. We know that he measured the dog, okay? And we know that it's in between. So his measurements was the length is between 22 and 4/10, and put you guys on pause. All right, so guys, it's between the 22 and 4/10 and where am I at? Okay, there. 22 and 5/10 inches. Okay, so that's what I know. Now, what do I need to find out? Yeah, exactly. Which number is between these 2 numbers, right? These 2, we'll say, let's say decimal numbers. Okay, so which number is between these 2? Let's say measurements. I like that better. Don't you? I do, because then we say numbers too many times and it's creating chaos with our brain, and we don't want to do that anymore. All right, so now what's our plan? Oh, yeah, let's do a number line. So draw a number line. Okay, so we're going to write that, draw a number line. Next, very good. We're going to mark both measurements on a number line. If I can get there, there we go. Mark the number line with the measurements. Okay. And now we're going to we're going to put the choices on the number line. So we're going to, how can we say, just put right the choices on the number line. Does that make it easier? I mean, make your life easy. All right, so let me wrap this up. Let's go ahead and do that number line. Okay, so let's go ahead and draw that number line really quickly. So I'm going to draw this number line here. Okay, and now I'm going to mark this at 22 and 4/10. And then this other one, I'm going to switch the color because I really don't like that red. And then this is going to be the 22 and 5/10. All right, remember our answer choices? 22 and 41 thousandths, right? Do I have anything in the tenths place? No. So that guy's going to be way over here, not way over, but over here at 22 and 041. Okay, so that, does that work? Is that in between here and here? No, not at all. So let's look at the next one, 22 and 57 hundredths. This is 50. 57 is going to be over here, right? So does that work out? Absolutely not. Okay, so that doesn't work. So I can eliminate this one. I can eliminate this one. What about 22 and 4/10? 4/10, which is greater the 4 hundredths or 4/10. So it's going to be over here. Actually, it'll be on this side, right? So that doesn't work. What about 22 and 43? Yay! Ding, 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 ding. We got that one correct. So it's 22 and 43 hundredths. All right, so that is going to be the correct one. All right, so guys, you're going to work on these next two on your own, and then, but I'm going to let you know what the correct answer is so that you can go through here and figure out how you got it. So on this next one, the answer is there on D, but you've got to come up with a justification. And on this one here, actually, I should just let you figure that one out because that's one we've been working on. So I'm going to give you that one and see what you can come up with. But I will tell you that the answer is C. Okay. You guys have a great evening, and I won't see y'all in the morning. I'm hoping to see y'all tomorrow afternoon, but I will definitely see you at Harvest Festival. Bye.